Hi everyone, these are all the books I read in March. Some of them I liked, some of them kind of annoyed me a little bit, but that's okay. There's only 4 because I started a little late in March. I only read these in like a week and a half, plus school and a social life, so yeah. Here are my honest reviews of them, and my reviews are not in the order that I read them in. So for book number 1, it's Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. So I have a few notes on my phone if you're wondering why I keep looking down. So I actually really liked this one. It's kind of a then and now, like every other chapter is like a now then, now then. Usually I don't like those kinds of books. I kind of just like to be in the present. I don't like those kinds of transitions. It's also the same with like different POVs for each chapter, because I kind of just have a favorite person and I prefer that, but sometimes I don't mind it, and this book actually did a really good job at impressing me. Yeah, out of all the then and nows that I've had to read, this one did a really good job. I actually fell in love with like the then a lot. I was like really invested in the story. The now, it was good up until maybe halfway closer to the end, when I really just didn't like the now. I felt like it was getting a little, not rushed, but I really liked the depth of the then, and maybe this is how she planned it as writing, is like the then was like the building between them, so she didn't really have to do that in the now, which makes sense. But when we got to the now chapters, I felt like they kind of just jumped into things. This is also just my personal opinion. Not everybody has to feel this way. I definitely was more invested in the then than the now. So yeah, the big conflict scene, because you know, a romance book, you know, you always have the build up and then you have the conflict, and then you have a chapter or two where it's like, oh my gosh, you know, this whole thing, and then life gets better again. Or you read the rare book where that doesn't happen. So the conflict scene was good. I don't know, something about it, I did like it. I don't think I really liked the way it started. It was a love scene was kind of how the conflict started, which is fine. I know the books I'm reading. I don't mind a good love scene. By the way, I hope you guys know what I mean by like love scene. But for this particular book, I didn't really like that that's how they started the conflict, and then that's kind of like where all the passion was in it. And then when they got to actually like figuring out their problems, I feel like a conflict shouldn't always be started with a love scene, because then that's kind of where all the passion goes, and I kind of prefer passion being in like moments that are, in my opinion, love scenes aren't always as intimate as just hanging out with each other and actually having to talk to each other. I thought it was cute. I was definitely more emotionally invested in this book out of a lot of the other books, especially in the past storyline. I think it was well written. I liked it. Not a lot of books can pull off a then and now, in my opinion. Sometimes it's just a little difficult. This book, I definitely think she did a really good job at writing this. If I were to give it a rating, I'd rate it a solid 4 out of 5. There was just things about the now was feeling a little rushed and just not as intimate than the then, and then the conflict scene, and just starting off with the love. So 4.5, 4. Just a little bit was taken off from that. So book number 2 is Funny Story by Emily Henry. So these books I actually really like. I love like the cute, like kind of books that start off kind of like this. I like cute little romances, and this is definitely kind of one of them. I'm not gonna lie, at the beginning it took me a second to get into it. I started reading this over winter break, and then winter break ended, and then school started, so I kind of stopped reading for a few months and then got back into it in March. So it kind of took me a bit to get into it and stay into it. I did really like the plot. It was lighthearted, kind of lighthearted. There were a few deep moments, which I love those in a good book. They really make a good plot good, and really good for like the characters. It definitely made me laugh a few times, which is good. I love a good book that'll make me laugh. I can say for certain that when I was reading this book, when I picked it back up, I was on vacation with my best friend and I was reading it and I was like up in my bunk because we may be older, but bunking together will always be fun. But I took top bunk and I was just over here like giggling while I was reading it, and she would giggle too because I'm laughing at a book, and then yeah. So I thought it was funny at times. Sometimes, you know, like there's always the part of a romance where the girl character where the character starts to realize, it doesn't have to be the girl character, the male, whatever, where they start to realize the main character likes the love interest. And I liked it. I know something about it maybe bothered me. Something about it bothered me when she started to realize she liked him. Maybe to me, maybe it took too long or something. I don't know. Actually, I don't think it took too long. When she was figuring out her feelings, something about it annoyed me. I can't really put a pin on it. It kind of annoyed me. Whoever else is reading it, I'm sure you guys had great experience when they were liking each other. I'm just a little picky about things, especially recently. I don't know why. I've just been really picky about my books. I did really like how the relationship felt. I really like relationships where they kind of are like best friends. I like when the good romance is built off of that instead of something like, you know, just like lust. It's just cute and a lot more intimate and meaningful. I did really like there are a few spoilers. I might accidentally spoil it a little bit, so I'll just put that in them, whatever. When he was like showing her around and she was gonna leave town, and then how do I say this without spoiling it? She was gonna change her life and he hung out with her and did all this and showed her a way to fall in love with how she was living so she wouldn't change the life the way she wanted to change it. And I thought that was really cute. That's kind of how their relationship built, and I thought it was cute. I liked it. The conflict, it was miscommunication. There was a lot of miscommunication in that little. I don't like miscommunication tropes. I hate it. For me, it's a clear, why don't you guys just talk to each other? I'm sure for the people who are actually in the book, it's not as simple as that, but I was like, if you guys would have just had a conversation a little sooner, y'all would not have done this. Then again, there wouldn't have been a conflict. But still. I loved this book. Not as much as Love in Other Words. So, I loved this book. My rating would be like a 3.5 to 4 out of 5. It was super cute. Yeah. Hi guys. So I'm editing this right now, this video, and I'm realizing that I'm not looking at the camera at all throughout this entire video. I'll get better at doing it. It's just a little weird because when I'm looking over here, because like I have a screen right here and I can see myself and I know what I look like, but over here you just kind of can't. So yeah, throughout this entire video I am not looking at the camera at all. I'm looking at myself, and I could re-record it, but I'm not trying to do all that. I hope that doesn't bother too many of you guys. Enjoy. The third book is The Long Game by Elena Armas. Sorry if I butchered the last names. I'm not very good at last names. I have read her other books. I've read The Love Deception and Roommate Experiment, which I know she likes to do those little duologies. I know this book has a second book. I just haven't bought it yet. But I don't know, I read the description and I'm not sure if I like it, but I'll probably buy it anyway. I had really high expectations because I read her other books. I love them. Like, all my other books, like I have bookshelves of books, and that's across the world. At where I used to live. It's complicated. And I loved her other books so much. I loved her other books so much that I brought it to college with me solely so I could read it, like just reread it. I really loved this book. Actually, it is one of my favorite books. So when I was starting to read this book, I had some high expectations because I was like, I will fall in love with characters, right? The way I did this book. Highly recommend. It's a nice book. But yeah, it was, I really did like the book. I liked the characters. I really liked the girl. I love a good boss girl. I don't know. I don't know. I love the boss girl solely because like I also really like wearing heels and getting dressed up, and I love like this city and New York and just any city. So she was fun to read about, especially when they go to like a small town. I'm trying not to put any spoilers, but it's kind of like on the back. But when they go to like a small town and stuff, I think it's nice. It took a while. I don't want to spoil it. Skip this because this is a spoiler if you haven't read the book yet. But when they got to the cabin, when she got to the cabins, I thought he was kind of like instantly gonna step in and be like, no, you can like sleep with me, or at least it was gonna happen sooner. I thought that it would be faster for her to for him to take her into his cabin, but it took a while. That kind of annoyed me a little bit. Other than that, it was cute because that's not, sometimes like if they were to have shared a cabin, that's how they would have built a relationship more and built tension, but she did that in other ways by having them like hang out outside of that. So for a non-spoiler, I thought there would be a forced proximity moment, and there was forced proximity, but I thought that would happen a different way, and that didn't until like later on in the book, and that kind of just annoyed me. I didn't like it that much. I was hoping it would happen sooner. My camera keeps unfocusing and I don't know why. But yeah, I really liked the small town vibe in this. I really liked her character development. How at the beginning she was like needing to prove herself, and then she was kind of like, you know what, I don't care about any of you guys. Yeah, how she started off, she was like, I need to impress people, I need to live up to the expectation, and then at the end she was like, I'm gonna do what I love, which I love that. So his backstory, what led him to move to the small city, it was fine. I was kind of expecting it to be more because he had like all of this, and I was like, oh, you know, this is his backstory is gonna be good. Could have been better, or it was good. Maybe there could have been more details about how that situation happened, other than just like him saying that this is what happened and then not really go into like, it's a traumatizing situation. I'm not trying to diss on the situation, but I don't know. His problem could have been presented a little bit better, in my opinion. I rate this one 3 out of 5. 3.5 out of 5. I'm kind of ranking all of these in relation to each other, of just like favorite to non-favorite. So you if I wasn't ranking them, I'd like in relation to each other, it might be a 4. No, it's still kind of a 3.5. I really liked it though. There were just moments. There was like this one scene that like was going on, and then the scene cuts off and then a new chapter happens. That really annoyed me. I did not like reading about that. Obviously we know what would happen in that scene, but you could have built something, could have been built off of it. Like something could have happened. It didn't, and that bothered me. It bothered me so much that it's a 3.5 and not like a 4. Book number 4 is Summer in the City by Aster. So I know she wrote Lightlark and all of that. I haven't read that series yet. It's on my list. I would really like to read the series, but I just haven't bought it yet because I'm in college, and if I buy a series a book that's in the series, I have to buy the entire series. That's just how I work. So yeah, and I just don't have the money to buy her entire series yet. I love city romances, and when like the male main character is like boss or whatever, like I like those tropes. They're predictable, but if you're reading a romance book, I read them because they're predictable. If I didn't want a predictable book, I'd go back to my fantasy books. Like, I like romances because they don't kill off my favorite characters. Yeah. Yeah, I really like the city, New York City especially. I just love New York. Definitely a goal of mine, so that's why I like to read books like that. They have a forced proximity. Minor spoiler, I really liked them being neighbors. Okay, that's not a spoiler. It says it in the thing that they're neighbors, or one wall apart, as the description says it. So, yeah, I like the forced proximity part. I like that. That's cute. I also love seeing the softer sides. Like, I'm really trying not to spoil these. Because I know people like to watch these before they read the books. I don't. I'm lazy. But I read them after just to see if people agree with my opinions or not. Yeah. There was a scene that I thought was really cute where they were out and about and doing something, and he was like dressed down. He had like a baseball cap on. I thought it was it was just a really cute moment. But yeah, I like seeing their softer side. So it's a nice touch that they're not always like big and boss. Sometimes books will keep them in like a really big boss thing, and like it just won't ever break, and sometimes I like that, sometimes I like the cuteness of it. So I really like this book. But, and a big but, the conflict really annoyed me. You know how I said some books I love, some books really annoyed me? This one annoyed me. Her reaction just bothered me. It could have been handled differently. Sorry, again, I'm looking at my notes. It could have been handled differently. I get characters are complex with their own beliefs and their own goals and all of that. That is the whole point of certain characters, is that they are complex, and I love a good complex character. She had stated her, like, a lot to him, kind of what makes her a complex character so much. And whatever, and I thought he learned his lesson. He didn't until the conflict, and she, like, I wouldn't say overreacted. The way she handled it annoyed me, because the conflict wasn't like that moment you wouldn't think would be a conflict. I was like, oh yay, life's great, things are going great, and then no, yeah, that's not how it went. Because of her reaction. She could have reacted differently. She didn't have to react the way she did. And then there was a time jump at the end, and then she came back and was like, I really needed to work on this thing that made me such a complex character. And I was like, if there's gonna be a time jump, it has to be like at the beginning of the book, or if it's gonna be at the end of the book, it has to be because of the epilogue, not just at the very end. And then give me like a few chapters, and just give me a few chapters at the end where it's like, oh, I figured my life out and I'm gonna come back and whatever. I didn't like it. It really annoyed me. The beginning of the book was progressing decently up until probably like 75%, and then the conflict happened, and then the time jump happened, and I just didn't like it. I also just wasn't super emotionally connected to this one. Yeah, I just wasn't super emotionally connected, and I like to be emotional with my characters. So my character's crying, I want to cry too. If she's laughing, I'm laughing, or he's laughing, I'm laughing. Like, it's a big part of my ratings for books if like I'm emotionally connected to them, I guess, or just how involved with the story I am. This one could have been better. Not bad, could have been better. Probably my least favorite of the month, even though I really like my city romances. I literally bought it because it's summer in the city. Yeah, probably my least favorite of the month. Definitely a 3. Not bad enough to be in 2s. I mean, if it was gonna be, I wouldn't say like 2.5, but I'd say like 2.7 to 2.7 to 3. By the way, I keep looking at myself and not the camera. Sorry about that. I'll see how that looks this entire time, but I didn't even realize that it looks like I'm not even looking at you. But yeah, I'm sure her other books like Light Lark and all of them are really good books, but not my favorite. So yeah, if I were to rank them all, this would have been number 1 of March, number 2, number 3, and then number 4. Yeah. So yeah, for April, I already have a few books lined up. I can't promise you that if I film this video again, it's gonna go well, or that I'm gonna have read all these books, because April reading doesn't seem to be looking super good. Okay, so to start off, I have How to Kill Your Family by Bella Mackie. This book I actually think is really cute. It's just not a romance book, so I'm having a problem getting into it. I've had it for a hot second. I've read, spoiler, I've only read to where she kills her grandparents. Another book I'm reading is The Primal of Blood and Bone by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This book, about 300 pages in. I'm a little disappointed. But I have to keep reading it because I fell in love with these characters, like, so much. And I was really excited to read this book when it came out. Because I bought it when it came out, and then school happened, so I didn't read it. So the next book I'm reading is Black Ties and White Lies by Kat Singleton. It's cute. I also have the other one that I haven't read left. It's Pretty Rings and Broken Things, the blue one. I'm, what, 30 pages in? And I'm also a little disappointed. I had really high hopes for this one because it's also a city romance. Yay! I'll talk more next month about it. But yeah, there's another book. Let me go get it. I was gonna get out to go get the book because I thought it was on my desk, because my desk is behind the fridge and all of that, but it's actually right under my little setup. I'm on top of a bunch of books. I'm on top of A Court of Mist and Fury, Sarah J. Maas, and House of Sky and Breath, Sarah J. Maas. But the other book that I would like to read this month is Breathe With Me by Becca Mack, but I really need to start reading the backs of these and just not putting them on my list because they look pretty, or because book talk or something. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. My April reads aren't looking too bright for me. Maybe I will end up loving the books. I kind of just started all of them, except for Primal Blood and Bone. That one I'm a little scared about. But yeah, I have thoughts on all the ones I've already started for April. Because it is April, I'm releasing this March read. It's just a little late. Told myself I was gonna do it like last week and a half ago. Life happens. So yeah, these books are all the ones I read in March. Yeah. Let me know if you guys have read any of these, or like what y'all's opinions are on them. I don't know. Maybe you guys can change my outlook on some of these, or, you know, whatever. Or maybe you guys agree with me on certain points. I don't really know. Or actually, tell me what to expect on my April reads, if you guys have read any of them, because yeah, my one that has the highest hopes is How to Kill Your Family. So yeah, I guess for my next video that is like this one, I'll see you in like 2 weeks, end of April, maybe even the beginning of May, but I don't really know because that'll be final season. I don't really have a lot of finals, but that'll be final season and school happens. So yeah, Thanks for sticking around.